I hated the new job. Honestly, I freaking hated it. I just wanted to be a writer, man. Throughout college in my early to mid-20s, I put fun on the back burner while I slaved away at my keyboard. I wrote everything from screenplays to novels, always horror. I had even made some money off it. More money than probably the vast majority of aspiring writers ever will. But in the end, I was still a semi-pro. AKA, I couldn't make a full-time living scaring people with my prose. Not yet, at least. You see, Patrick Revock wasn't a household name. And I guess at 27, I shouldn't expect to be Stephen King or Brad Haskell. Especially in today's world where even the best of us semi-pros, and quite a few of professional writers, need day jobs to pay the bills. I guess I should consider my passion a perfect part-time gig. The money I get off my stories and scripts was always a nice bonus. But now that my girlfriend Nicole and I were getting serious, well, I figured that it was time for me to get a day job after all. Even one that was freaking miserable. One of Nicole's friends helped me get this job at a bottling plant. I basically had to drive around to a few superstores, and I put all the Pepsi products up on display. The recruiters tried to pitch it as being this serious job full of promotion potential, but I just saw it for what it was. I was a freaking stalker. Sure, this wasn't easy, not at all, but there were plenty of hours and the pay would be steady. For once, I wouldn't have to worry about having stories sell or doing odd gigs for money. I would have consistent cash for Nicole and I. In a selfish way, I welcomed what I knew would be a very challenging and physical job. As a night owl, I would even have to transition to working from 5 AM to 5 PM. But after hearing people, namely Nicole's neighbors, complain that all I did was write to not make a steady income, I considered the job a defiant to screw you to their bitchiness. And I still would have 3 or 4 days off where I could focus on the writing. I could still pursue my dream of being a full-time pro. And plus I figured this tedious sales support gig might influence my stories, particularly the characters. So far at least, everybody here seemed nice. All of them blue-collar, working-class types. I was one of the few employees with a college degree, much less the only creative one of the bunch, but I was intrigued by the dynamic. After all the time spent around fellow writers in academia, just joining common Americans gave me fresh insight into the country's heartland. Of course, there was also Nicole and I's future. We had been dating for 2 years and I loved her. Hell, I needed her. Our chemistry was strong, our relationship hot and heavy. We were two former hipsters at war with the world, even as both of us had settled down into traditional work. But at least the subtle conformity hadn't changed our personalities any. Nicole was 25, an extremely pretty and smart young black woman. She liked spending money and she made the cash to live vicariously. Not to mention she could outdrink everybody that you knew. Armed with radiant eyes and wavy hair, Nicole had always captivated me. Her tall, slender frame was made all the more attractive by her quirky fashion sense. I was slender and I had a crazy grin. Even though I was 27, I looked much younger. With straight brown hair stylized by spiked bangs, boyish dimples, and bright green eyes, I was unconventionally handsome to say the least. And when I didn't have my contacts in, I was forced to wear oversized glasses, more befitting an elderly rocket scientist than a millennial in his late 20s. So yeah, Nicole and I were a cute couple. And even doing manual labor I clearly wasn't made for, I stayed with the job. I wanted to for Nicole. My second day of work left me with my trainer Ray. He was supposed to show me the ropes and explain what the hell I was doing. Instead, what I got was a picky-ass army vet. A 55-year-old man whose 20-year experience at Pepsi left him both in great physical shape and with a comical dedication to a job that illiterate 16-year-olds could do. Aided by his trim brown hair and beard, Ray fit the mold of a Bible Belt bullshitter, A supervisor who faked friendliness to all the bosses and store owners. Ray's clothes and car were always neat. His blue eyes laser focused. His voice loud, booming, and full of southern charm. I could tell that the army pride never left him, and neither did his delusional demands for excellence. Like a meticulous surgeon, Ray made sure that all those Pepsi products were precise and pristine. Only this wasn't brain surgery, or any other job that required rigorous focus. This was stocking shelves. I actually didn't mind Ray during the breaks, but goddamn, he was a nightmare on the job. More tyrant than a trainer. He worked me like a dog. After just one day, my legs were sore and my body dehydrated from all the heavy lifting. Not to mention the exhaustion that I felt from the countless times I had to redo the store coolers and shelves to fit Ray's lofty standards. The sunrise-sundown shift may as well have been a supermarket prison sentence with him. And the agonizing work wasn't the only horror either. The time constraints also bothered me. Ray constantly told me to go faster. Considering this guy was a Pepsi vet who moved at the speed of sound, my lofty one day of experience didn't have a chance at matching his speed. I struggled, man, and Ray damn sure let me know it. Overall, gosh, he was a douche. The drill sergeant that I never wanted. In just a split second, he could go from yapping it up with a pretty cashier to barking at me to fill up a cooler. Hell, just on the first day, he told me that he had severe PTSD, which he could only tolerate by making sure he performed his duties to the fullest. A real perfectionist at his shit job. Needless to say, I was dreading going back into work the next morning. And the sad thing was, it was only my second day. So at 5:30 a.m., I clocked in at the plant, and then I made the boring drive to my trainer's first stop. A Walmart neighborhood market. One of those mini Walmarts missing all the cool electronics, but still full of the same stressful suppression. You would think that since it was only my second day, Ray would let me ride with him. But yeah, the asshole never offered. I guess I was too much of a slacker to even be worthy of his precious Honda Civic. So like the defeated prisoner that I was, I pulled into the neighborhood market. The parking lot was empty save for the handful of cars belonging to employees. I parked next to Ray's Honda. All of his army vet back window and bumper stickers taunted me like his booming voice was about to. Resigned to my fate, I stepped out into the late night. My Pepsi windbreaker and khakis had no chance against the February cold. Shivering, I walked up to the store's front entrance. Only the doors didn't slide. I came to a confused stop. Leaning in closer, I peered through the glass. Under the market's clinical lighting, I saw a ghost town of a Walmart inside. An abandoned village of goods and cash registers. What the fuck? I muttered as cold air poured from my lips. I banged on the doors. The glass felt frozen to my hand. One more hit and I think my flesh would have shattered like broken ice. "Hey!" I yelled. With the speed of a wild animal, Ray came charging down the soda aisle. His steps quick. His piercing eyes honed in on me. For once, he didn't look so confident or in control. A frantic turbulence fueled his hurry. Strange since I had never seen the man break a sweat, much less ever get flustered. Ray unlocked the sliding doors. "You're running late," his southern accent growled. "I told you to be here at 5:30. His sharp glower kept me petrified in the cold. "Jesus Christ," Ray yelled. He snatched my arm in a firm, harsh grip. "Get in here." I let Ray drag me inside. Under the bright lights, I felt sheer isolation. Even the Walmart's temperature was an uncomfortable low. Still shivering, I scanned the scene. No one was around. No clerks, janitors, not a single one of the grim, grumpy Walmart slaves. Like bells through a deserted cemetery, corny pop music blared through the speakers. Jennifer Page's catchy Crush, only enjoyed by Ray and I on this quiet Thursday. The sliding glass doors slammed shut behind me. I could hear Ray turn the lock. Startled, I turned to see my fiery trainer step towards me. Ray kept stealing looks around the store, a touch of paranoia to go along with his agitation. Hey, where's everybody at? I asked in a trembling voice. Where are the workers? With vivid force, Ray shoved me towards aisle 8, our resident soda section. Just get to work, boy, he hollered. I faced his intense baby blues. Do you want me to help? Just go check the damn shelves. Ray marched towards the employees only room in the back, his footsteps loud and furious. Write down what we need, I'll go look in the back. Uneasy, I began to make the journey to aisle 8. I had the walk of a prisoner approaching the gallows, the walk of a depressed employee. I grabbed a name tag sticker off the counter. And remember to hurry it up this time. I heard Ray bark at me. Cringing, I trudged up to the fateful aisle 8. The valley of the shadow of sodas glared down upon me. There were so many goddamn 2 liters, 6-packs, 12-packs, off-brand drinks, and God forbid those frickin' 24-pack suitcases. At least looking at beer got me excited. All this soda did was accelerate my dehydration. And what was more irritating was that I couldn't even drink the expired shit. Like a wary detective, I retrieved my pen and my notepad. Time to jot down all that I needed from the back room. Unfortunately for me, this morning was a hot mess. A pack of deranged children and lazy stoners must have pillaged aisle 8 throughout the night. There were sodas out of place, some even broken into. What we had here was a Pepsi-Cola shit show. I jotted down what brands that I needed, and then I hesitated on the hard work. Amidst this chamber of 90s pop music, I deliberated on my dread. Out of the tune of Shania Twain's, that don't impress me much. The colossal crash of the back room's doors made me jump. I turned and I looked down the aisle. There was a stray grocery cart, even an open notebook on a shelf. But I still saw no one, not a soul in sight. And Shania just kept singing, the only voice that I heard in the entire retail castle. I caught a chill. Hiding my trembling hands, I jammed them into my windbreaker's pockets. Restless and cold, I looked right behind me. Still, I saw no Walmart slaves. I heard none of their gossip, complaints, or annoying machinery. Nervous, I speed-walked down aisle 8. For once, I wanted to see Ray. At the frozen goods section, more cold air greeted me. More silence beside Shania's adult contemporary approved volume. Glancing down the hall, I saw the double-door entrance to the storage room. But all around me was just merchandise. No people. Here it was an hour after daybreak and I didn't see a single freaking employee. All I saw was their scattered shit. A notebook here, a full pallet there. Shit, I muttered. A sudden slam hit those double doors. Terrified, I looked right at it. The doors were back in place. Only no shelf came flying out, and no worker for that matter. Behind cautious steps, I approached the back room. Sean Mullen's lullaby now swept across this barren landscape. The spoken word vocals like whispers from beyond the Walmart grave. Unease dominated me. But still, I didn't think my paranoia was warranted. After all, maybe the employers were just messing around with Ray. Shit, I mean they love the guy. As I got closer to the room, I saw a face appear behind one of the door's narrow windows. A familiar glare. Ray. He stood right behind the doors, his fiery eyes locked in on me. I came to a frightened stop. Ray? I said. Just as Lullaby kicked into its sweeping chorus, Ray backed away into the storage room, into the dimly lit abyss of spare sodas. "Hey man," I yelled, forcing myself to fulfill the duties bestowed upon me with this Pepsi jacket and my freaking name tag. I rushed towards the double doors. "Hey man, you need any help?" Before entering the room, I stole one last look around the store. I was still alone with Ray. The storage room was even colder and darker, basically a Walmart basement. I pulled my jacket in tighter, a thin cover for the chilly draft in here. Tall shelves of shit surrounded me, and in the dark, all of the wrapped items resembled preserved lab specimens. "Hey Ray, what's up?" I said, forcing confidence in my nervous tone. I stopped and I evaluated the room. Abandoned carts full of unpacked items were scattered about. A front desk still had open notebooks sprawled all across it. "Hey, do you need any help?" I took a few more cautious steps. I saw a retractable door in a dark corner. The same door that we took to go outside and drop off all of our crates and pillars. And right now it was wide open. Confused, I stared outside. The Walmart's truck parking lot loomed right before me, and there were indeed quite a few trucks out there, including our own Pepsi deliverer. Through the intense silence, I heard no voices, no footsteps, just the lingering rumble of a truck engine and the howling February wind. Maybe Ray was just running around somewhere, I figured, and honestly I couldn't put it past the workaholic. He was Mr. Pepsi himself. I shifted my focus over to our shelves, our back catalog of 12 packs and 20 ounces. Regardless of my unease, I knew I had little choice but to get back to work. I needed to hurry up, as Ray would say, or go faster, as the neighborhood market's manager would bitch. Because God knows stocking sodas was so freaking important. Back in slave mode, I stepped up to our Pepsi section. Most of our 12 packs looked damaged, but not damaged enough. Apparently Ray had already taped up the tears. In addition to being an expert stocker, Ray was also a soda doctor, judging by how well he refurbished these goddamn boxes. Straining, I began stacking the 12 packs on a wobbly cart. I was like a lumberjack stacking chopped wood, only this chore paid less. Much less. The boxes all felt heavier than usual. I figured that this job must have really weakened me at this point, or should I say broken me. In such silence, I kept hearing the cart squeal beneath the thunderous thud of each box. I just hoped that the damn thing wouldn't break. At least with no one here, I wouldn't feel embarrassed pushing this overstacked pile of crap around. Fueled by the intense labor, I felt sweat sticking to my jacket. Crouching down, I wrapped my arms around a behemoth 24-pack of Pepsi. I tried to lift it, but the 24-pack was winning. I let out an exasperated groan. Using all of my meager might, I finally raised the suitcase. And then a huge crash echoed towards me, a cardboard avalanche. Frightened, I dropped the 24-pack. Even when I heard it burst on the floor, my gaze stayed on the open doorway. From what I could see, several boxes were lying out there in the darkness. Our boxes. Even at this distance, my trained eye could recognize all those goddamn Pepsi logos. And all of the packs were positioned like the Christmas gifts I never asked for. Thick liquid poured from the bottom of the collection, from the conglomeration of crushed cans. The shit that I knew Walmart would make me clean up. "Ray?" I said in a worried tone. Not a sound emerged from out there. The chills now overpowered my sweat. I stole a glance around the stockroom, but I was still alone. My uneasy eyes looked back at those boxes. "Hey Ray, you out there?" I yelled. Silence greeted me, as well as reinforced my fear. I took a step towards the open door. Ray? I stopped in a puddle, an ever-growing river flowing throughout the room, but there was no sweet scent emanating from it. I felt no stickiness beneath my feet. Shivering, I forced my gaze down to the suitcase that I had dropped, and then my immense horror only grew. The large puddle was too much liquid to be coming from just 24 cans, and in my sickened gut, I also realized that I dropped a Pepsi instead of a Mountain Dew Code Red. Oh fuck, I said through the fear. Panicking, I leaned down and I ripped the suitcase's lid off. Rather than cans, I saw 24 individual pieces of human flesh. Eyeballs with sagging skin still attached. A severed arm, even a pulpy heart. Judging by the blue clothes and the blood-soaked cap, I finally knew where all those neighborhood market slaves had gone. What happened to them when they were alone with Ray? I looked over at my crammed cart. Now there were bloodstains seeping through all the cardboard. All the logos now glowed with a vivid red. Going off equal parts adrenaline and stupidity, I ripped open one of the 12-packs. 12 mutilated limbs and gooey organs stared back at me. Queasiness joined my terror. Only the biting cold kept me from puking. I couldn't imagine how foul the stench of slaughter would have been in the summer. Pulling myself away, I staggered up towards the open door. Ray! I yelled. I kept my eyes on the scattered boxes out there. The load that Ray had left for me. Ray, where are you? I cried. Desperate for protection, I pulled a box cutter from my pocket. The one that Ray had convinced me to buy just yesterday. And the only weapon that I had. Feeling more hunted than hunter, I approached those boxes. God damn it, Ray. I slid the cutter's pathetic blade up. Where are you? Closer and closer to the collection I got. Huge tears covered the boxes, providing an easy glimpse into their contents. Ray! I yelled again. Outside, I felt the heavy wind cut into me. Only 2 of the truck parking lot lights were on. Beyond the trucks and pillars, I saw a forest polluted beyond belief. Stray Walmart boxes and garbage made up its filthy ecosystem. I looked all around me, but I saw no one outside. The rumbling truck, the lone noise that I heard. Gripping the box cutter, I knelt down towards the largest box. A 24-pack of Diet Pepsi. My paranoid gaze kept searching the parking lot. Ray! I yelled out again. I got no response. No answers on this dark, cold night. Finally, I forced my focus back towards the Diet Pepsi. Just one quick look was all that I needed. The present inside was Ray's decapitated head. His blue eyes looked onto me, crying for help just like his agape mouth surely was. In a color befitting a more gruesome code red, blood oozed from his hacked neck. His beard now populated by crimson specks. All the jagged hacks made it obvious that Ray's death was a slow carving, rather than one clean slice. Scared, I bolted to my feet. I couldn't help but catch quick, disturbing glimpses of all the other boxes. Ray's other pieces. His hands, organs, and legs. All of it divvied up into 6 and 12 packs. All of the gore packaged and ready for the market. The truck door burst open and out jumped a large masked man. He was tall and strong and fast. The man descended upon me like a savage beast. A hungry beast. I confronted the killer. A cardboard yellow smiley face mask disguised the man's face. Blood scattered all over the morbid, homemade rendition of Walmart's trademark mascot. Now a smile of death. The man wore tight gloves. His oversized Walmart uniform draped over him like a cult member's robes. the store's yellow star icon now doused in fresh crimson. Trembling, I held out my box cutter, the blade so far out of reach of the murderer. "Get away from me!" I screamed, my attempted toughness about as pathetic as my weapon of choice. In a cool swat, the killer knocked my blade away. Helpless, I watched it fly off towards the trucks, off into the parking lot's dark depths. The man's gloved hand extended right towards me. I got a front row view of his own box cutter. The blade was longer than a Shakespearean dagger, and sharper than one judging by a lumpy flesh glued to it. I could tell the man had customized this weapon, homemade just like his mask, and just like those graveyard of boxes inside. Like the world's most demented supervisor, the Walmart killer waved the cutter in front of my face, somewhere between a taunt and a sadistic scolding. Horrified, I staggered back. My sloppy, scared footsteps struggled to reach the back room. I slipped and I fell down to one knee. The killer charged after me. I saw a faint light glimmer off that long blade, and the masked smile only seemed to grow wider. The man swung his weapon. I rolled away, just missing the fatal blow. Stumbling to my feet, I confronted the killer. Our eye contact lingered in that February night. Breathing cold air, I took one last look around the parking lot, around the shitty neighborhood market. No one was coming for help, I knew that much. The masked man lunged towards me. I bolted off for the woods, my only chance at escape, my only chance for survival. Of course, the man kept pace. The world's craziest supervisor was also the fastest. The wind blew back against his Walmart uni, making it flow like a vampire's cape. Focused through the fear, I kept going. I had to. Regardless of what Ray thought, I was now going pretty goddamn fast. Running amongst the myriad of forgotten trash and Walmart bags, I ripped off my name tag. Screw this terrifying night and screw this terrifying job. This shit was not worth the $10 an hour.